What's up, you guys? Welcome back. Amber Rosé with another video for you guys. Today we're going to be making this nice pretty pink wig. I did get the hair off of AliExpress. It's pretty good hair, so I'll be sure to leave the link down in the description bar. Okay, so to start off, I have my hair braided and sewn together just so that it'll be flat. So I'm taking the wig cap that I'm going to be sewing the hair onto, and I'm just going to be marking where my ears are. And then once I put the frontal on just to see where I would want the hairline, I'm going to mark the back just so I know where to sew it. As far as the wig cap that I'm wearing right now on my head, I don't have it lined up the way that I want to. That's because I didn't have a mirror, so I couldn't see. So I just filmed this part just to show you how I do it without using measuring tape, and I did it off camera. So as you can see, there's like arrows, so I know which lines that I'm supposed to be using versus the ones that I'm not supposed to use. So here I'm just putting the hair on the frontal up into a ponytail so it'll be out of the way when I start to sew. For this step, I just pinned the frontal on the mannequin head any old type of way. So once I am finished doing that, then I'm going to align it up in the back with my markings that I have on the cap, and I want to make sure that it's going to be flat, make sure it's not too far to the left, too far to the right, and then I'm going to begin to sew. Now, with the sewing process, when I first started making wigs, I used to just sew it one way, either like left to right or right to left, but now I start in the middle and go from, you know, the middle to the left or the middle to the right, just so I can make sure that it's even, it's not tugging more towards one side versus the other side. That is pretty important. So I mean, it really doesn't matter, it depends on who you're making the wig for, or you know, how perfect you want the wig. Now as you can see, I done already completed going from the middle to the left, so now I'm just going to go from the middle to the right. Now that the frontal's on, here's time for the easy part. So I have 3 bundles. I have 18, 20, and 22 inches. So obviously I'm going to start with the longest inch, which is 22. So that can be on the bottom. I want it closer to my booty. It's pretty soft. It doesn't shed that much. I mean, eventually it did start to shed, but I did end up cutting the weft, so I don't know if that's the reason why or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin the bundle onto the mannequin head from left to right, or right to left, it doesn't matter, whichever side you prefer. And then I'm just going to start to sew. Now, I'm not that good with hair, you guys. I really struggle to do my natural hair, let alone with wigs. But I find that it's easier for me to do my own hair if I do make wigs, and even though they're not perfect, you know, it's good enough for me. I get compliments on it, so I'm just sharing with you guys the techniques that I use. And this one's not even for me. I really don't make them for other people, but I am going to give this one to my friend because I don't really need it. I'm not going to really talk too much about the sewing process because it's pretty much self-explanatory. I go through the cap and then through the weft. and it's really repetitive, so I'm just going to go ahead and speed right through it. What I did want to talk to you about though is the fold over method, because that is the technique that I use. This way it prevents a lot of shedding from cutting the weft. So I just fold it over and pin it with my T-pins, and then I just continue to sew again. And again, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video because it's very repetitive. Okay, so this next step, once you get around to this area, you're just going to go straight across. So you're going to have to end up cutting the weft instead of still going around, because you want it to sit very flat. You don't want it to be pretty big and, you know, all bubbly or bulky or anything at the top. And my camera ended up dying on this part, so I filmed as much as I could for this. I knew it was going to die, and I went as fast as I could, so I do apologize. I was trying to stay out of the way. My stitching may be ugly. I just wanted to make sure that you guys had a really good angle to see how I was doing things. Okay, so now this is the completed wig. The camera's charged, so we can get back into work. This is what she looks like with the frontal down. Her hairline might look a little bit too far back, but trust me, I made the wig a little bit smaller because my friend has a smaller head than me. So we're going to go ahead and cut off this excess wig cap because we don't need this. Look at all that stitching, it looks nice. So the easiest way for me to cut it off is to just, you know, flip it inside out and put it on the mannequin head. So that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to begin to cut. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I have very dull scissors. But I have to work with what I got. So when you're doing this part, you have to be very careful. You don't want to cut any of the stitchings that you've done, because then the frontal or even your track pieces will come undone, and then you're going to have to start all over again on a different wig cap. And we don't want to do that. Okay, so now that we've cut off the rest of that excess wig cap, you could either keep that if you don't have the elastic band to sew on it, or you could throw it away if you do have an elastic band, or if you want to use combs, that's fine too. But this is what she looks like now. She's so pretty and soft. Now it's time for the fun part. So I have 2 buckets of warm water and a bunch of pink hair dyes. I have pink Petal, which is more so of the lighter pinks. I have 2 of the atomic pinks, which is more so like the neon hot pink. And I also have pink Obsession and pink Mania, which is more so on the darker sides of pink. So going in with pink Petal and atomic pink, I'm just going to go ahead and mix those in together first, because I figured that pink Petal was going to be too light for the hair to take the color. Okay, so when doing the watercolor method, you always want to test a strip of hair first before just dyeing the hair, just to make sure that you don't ruin it, it's the color that you want. And that's what I went ahead and did with this strip of hair that I had left over from making the wig. And the pink was still too light. It barely took any color on the hair, as you can see. There's nothing there, it's still blonde. So I went ahead and added some more of the pink Petal and the atomic pink to the water and mixed it in. I actually ended up using both full bottles because it was really light and I really wanted this hair to take the color. So I'm going ahead and putting that piece of hair back into the dye now. And the color has taken a lot better. I wanted it to be a light but bright pink. I didn't want it to be too dark because I wanted it to be at the top of the head, and I'm going to put the darker colors on the bottom. So as you can see, it took a lot better, and this is pretty much the color that I wanted, so this is what we're going to stick with. To make this easier, I put the wig in a ponytail so that way I can leave the bottom half that I want dark out of this water. And I'm just going to go ahead and dip the top half of the wig into the water. And I'm going to let it soak for about 5 minutes after I at least, just move it around to make sure that the dye is getting on the hair. And I really should have worn gloves, but the ones that I have, as I said in my last hair video, I got them too small so they don't fit. So it's semi-permanent hair dye. I don't really care. It'll come off anyway. After about 5 to 6 minutes, I went ahead and pulled the hair out of the water, and I don't know if it was because the hair is in a ponytail, something wasn't a good idea. This hair took to like the outer sides of the hair, so like all that's inside of that ponytail is still kind of blonde. I don't know if you can really see it, but it did not take the color that well, but that's okay. So we're just going to move on to the next step anyway. Look at that. A mess, just a hot mess. Now I'm going to take the Pink Obsession, which is the darker pink, and the Atomic Pink, which was like the neon hot pink, and mix that together. I used the whole bottle of the Pink Obsession, and I used about half a bottle of the Atomic Pink, because remember, I wanted it to be dark, but I also wanted to be bright and vibrant at the same time. Remember, you always test the water out on a strand of hair first before dipping the entire wig, and this is why. Now, I thought I was tripping because the water almost looks similar to the other one, but look at that. It's literally the same color, light pink, as the top of the hair. So, of course, I went in with some more of the Pink Obsession and the Atomic Pink because I needed it to be darker. Like I said, I went through about probably 2 bottles of the Pink Obsession, and then I went through 1 bottle of the Atomic Pink in order to get the color that I wanted. Okay, so now this dye was a lot better. It's a lot darker, like how I wanted. And see, that's so pretty. So pretty. And it's a lot darker. It's like a dark but hot pink. Exactly what I wanted. Now that we have the color that we wanted, I'm going to take the bottom half of the wig and dunk it into the bucket. I'm going to move my fingers around just to make sure that the hair is actually catching the color between the strands. The bottom half actually turned out a lot better than the top half, but again, I think that's because I had it in a ponytail and the top half wasn't really able to catch as much color. So, but this is what we have, and I'm loving it. It's perfect. So I let the hair dry overnight, this way I can see it in its natural state, and it's still too light. I don't know if you could tell, but it's still kind of blonde at the top. The hair didn't really take the color that well. So I went to the beauty supply store and got some more hair dye, and I'm just going to go ahead and dye this the old-fashioned way. So I'm parting the hair into sections, and to create the light pink at the top, I'm mixing the pink Petal with the Atomic Pink and the Pink Mania. And I'm just going to apply it probably about like to 2, maybe 3 inches of the hair. And again, I don't really do hair that well, so I'm not saying that I'm a professional. I don't really know what I'm doing. But this part is a little bit repetitive, so I'm going to go ahead and speed this half up. My camera did end up dying while I was doing this, so I didn't really get to film how I, dyed the bottom half of the hair. But I did go ahead and mix the Atomic Pink with the Pink Obsession. And I also had picked up a Hawaiian Fire Pink. It was more like a reddish pink. I added that in the mix as well, just to make sure that it was really dark and pink and vibrant so it'll pop. And then I just applied that to the bottom half, but you'll see in a minute. So this is what the hair looks like once I've dyed the top and the bottom. Obviously the bottom is way darker than the top, so I'm just going to rinse that out and voila! It's beautiful! This is exactly what I wanted. It took us a while, but we definitely got there. I really like the color. So even though the frontal was already pre-plucked, I'm going to go ahead and pluck it some more anyway. So I'm going to part the hair and spritz it with some water. It's better to pluck it when the hair is wet, even though the hair is still kind of wet. It's drying a little bit at the roots. So again, I'm just going to part it, spray it, and then I'm just going to start plucking it. Now I pluck it from behind instead of the front, so that way it looks a little bit more natural, so I won't over pluck or under pluck either. So I went ahead and plucked both sides of the frontal. After that, it's time to cut. So I'm taking my scissors and I'm just going to cut downward. I don't want it to go like straight across. I'm really just trying to layer it, so that's why I'm really going downward. After that, I did sew the elastic band on the inside of the cap, but I didn't record it because I needed my friend's head to know how much elastic to use. But yeah, this is it. This is her. She's beautiful. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it was very helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time, babies. Bye.